G'day guys. As some of you may know, I've owned a 3DS since it first came out. There's been quite a range of games that are released, some really good ones, some not so good ones. Now there's 2015 and there's some big games around the corner, such as Majora's Mask, and there's also new consoles coming out, such as the new 3DS and the new 3DS XL coming out to different regions. I thought I might step back through some of the games which I found really popular. So what I'm going to do is give you my top 5 favourite games. So I thought this video might be useful if you're just getting into the console itself, or if you're looking at buying a new 3DS and you're thinking, which game should I buy? Now, of course, this is just my own personal favourite list. What you like is probably going to be different to what I like. Okay, so number 5 for me is Luigi's Mansion. Now, when I bought this game, so I didn't actually know what to expect. So when I played this, I was really impressed. It was unique, it was fun, and I'm still in the process of finishing it. Number 4 for me is, pull this one out here, is Zelda, the Ocarina of Time 3D. Now, I played the original Zelda on the Nintendo 64 when I was a kid, and I really liked that game, but when I was a really young kid, I found it quite difficult to play. So when this came out, and this came out very early in the 3DS's console's life, this was a great game. I really enjoyed playing this. They updated the graphics. The story goes on for quite a long time. And to anyone buying a 3DS, this is probably one of the main games I say, look, grab this one because you definitely will be impressed with the console when you play this game. Alright, so somewhat controversially, possibly, number 3 for me is actually all the Pokemon games. Now, I'm a massive Pokemon fan, as you probably gathered by now. I have all the different Pokemon, Alpha Sapphire and Omega Ruby. But the thing for me is, in the last couple of years, I've probably been Pokemoned out. And every new Pokemon game is an advancement over the last one. It's got better features, it's more thought out, but it also boils down to it's the same story. So for me, after 10 plus years of playing Pokemon, they're just starting to wear a little bit thin for me. So that's why they're not my number 1 pick. Anyone who hasn't played Pokemon before, it's really hard to it's really hard to describe what you're getting yourself into. I say that I'm starting to wear a little bit thin on these, but I've already put 20 hours into Omega Ruby. I put, I don't know how many hours into X and Y. So, these games have so much gameplay that you could be playing these, for months or even years on end and still be getting enjoyment out of them. They've got such long life in the gameplay. They're very easy games to recommend for anyone playing the 3DS. So my number 2 pick is The Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds. Now, I played this game very briefly when it came out, I think on the Game Boy. Someone will correct me if I'm wrong, I suppose, but I played this very briefly when I was really young and I didn't get into it. And when this one was released, I really loved the gameplay in this game. It's all mostly top down. The graphics look great, the 3D looks great. The story is pretty basic, but it's solid, and basically anyone who gets a 3DS without knowing the Zelda world at all can put this in and play it. It's pretty straightforward, you're up and running. It's sort of somewhat easy to average difficulty depending on which dungeons you go into, but this is a great game, and I basically played this through from start to finish in essentially an entire weekend. I played this non-stop. I was that enthralled with the game. That's why people might say, oh, that's a bit strange to rate it above Ocarina of Time. I think the Zelda games can be pretty divisive, but both of these games were great. And the reason I'm ranking Zelda above Ocarina of Time for me personally is because I played this game so much and was just so taken by the art style, and just the entire game just really struck me, and I really loved playing it. So I've actually finished this game now, and I'm at the point now where I'm considering playing it again. But in any case, yeah, that's an easy recommendation from me. This is my number 2 pick. Alrighty, so number 1. My number 1 Nintendo 3DS game has definitely got to be Super Mario 3D Land. This game is just fantastic. Anyone buying a 3DS, I would say the first game you should buy has got to be this game. It looks fantastic. It plays like a classic Mario. It's just everything you'd expect from Mario, and it's for a portable system. This game is just fantastic. This is probably the first game in a long time that I have actually finished a game from start to finish and then gone back and collected all the stars and finished the game to 100%. I haven't done that in a game since I can't remember when. In any case, this game just says, yeah, it's a great game. The graphics look fantastic. The gameplay is just short, it's very challenging at times, especially if you try to collect all the stars and do all the time challenges. The different power-ups are exciting. All the worlds are so vastly different. This is just a pleasure to play. So yeah, I would easily recommend this to anyone buying a 3DS, and that's, you know, it is my #1 Nintendo 3DS game, and it still is all these years later. So if I move on to a few honourable mentions, now these games didn't make my top 5, but I thought I'd do a couple of honourable mentions. Cave Story 3D, I believe this is a remake of an original Cave Story game. I'm not 100% certain, but this game, this was a bit unusual, and it just sort of struck me. Its art style was just different, the story was a bit different, and I really enjoyed playing this. I never finished it because it did go on for quite a while, but I did play it for a good solid week or two and really enjoyed playing it. Next one, Resident Evil Revelations. This game was, I almost finished this. I think I got up to the last level before I don't know if I lost interest or I moved on to another game and just never came back to it. But this game, when it came out, it really surprised me for the Nintendo 3DS system. Like, it's a first-person shooter. It's, you know, it's horror. Like, in Australia, it's ranked, you know, MA 15+ strong violence. For a Nintendo game, that's really bizarre. But I mean, the gameplay was solid. The graphics were really cool for the system, and I was thinking, wow, this is a benchmark for future first-person shooters for the Nintendo 3DS. Alas, as far as I'm aware, not many really followed it, but this game was great and I really enjoyed playing it, so that's why I'm giving it an honourable mention. And the last honourable mention for me is Mario Kart 7. So I'm not a massive single-player Mario Kart fan, and I don't really like playing Mario Kart online either. I mean, that sounds weird, but my favourite Mario Kart experiences is basically playing it with family and friends on split screen on a TV, so I like playing multiplayer. But anyway, this game, once again from Nintendo, it's a solid release. You can get hours of fun out of this and, you know, all sorts of customizations. It's just a great game to play. I mean, a lot of people are, when they're buying 3DS, if you were ever to recommend 2 games, I would say pick up Super Mario 3D Land and Mario Kart 7, and you've got yourself two solid intros into the 3DS system. Now, the last thing I wanted to mention was a couple of games which, for me, were a little bit hyped up and they didn't quite live up to the hype. Now, the first one for me was Super Mario Bros. 2, or New Super Mario Bros. 2. For some reason, when I bought this game, I was expecting to really, really love it, and I was expecting big things out of it. And unfortunately for me, it didn't hold my attention. I sort of played through about half the game, and it was a grind. Like, I almost was like, yep, keep going, but I just never got that much enjoyment. I never got that much enjoyment out of this game. So Kirby Triple Deluxe, I was really looking forward to this game. I played Kirby on the Game Boy, and I really, really enjoyed Kirby. So I've been looking for a replacement Kirby for quite a few years, and I just have never found a decent Kirby that's captured my attention like the first one. So another game which really I was sort of super hyped for, but it turned out to be a bit boring, was Super Mario Rumble. So this game I was excited for on the 3DS because it was the first time Pokemon came to the console, and it was in 3D. So I thought, oh, awesome, I love Pokemon, I'll give it a go. But essentially, yeah, I installed this and was not that impressed. I mean, it captured my attention for a little while, and then it wore off. I think I expected something more than what this game delivered, so this was a bit of a disappointment for me as well. So anyway, guys, that's my top 5 Nintendo games from 2011 to 2014. I mean, 2015 is going to hold some big ones for me. Majora's Mask, I can't wait for that. I didn't actually play that when I was a kid. I only played Ocarina of Time, so I'm going to be coming to Majora's Mask fresh-faced. I'm really looking forward to that. But in that case, guys, let me know what your top 5 games are, or, you know, if you agree with some of my list, or if you disagree. I'm certainly interested in all your opinions. In any case, thank you very much for watching. You can reach me on Twitter, and yeah, if you have any questions, ask in the comments below. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and bye for now.